insufficient. That I
That's surprising.
really?
Yeah.
Ugh,
Yeah.
I'm such a Luddite. It's so. I feel like it's actually like this weird curse that I have that I like end up doing these like very tech heavy projects that just like constantly test my like capacity to feel like enough, because I'm just like, I can't make this stupid camera work, and I'm supposed to be like building this app.
So this, yeah, so settling into here, and then we'll start once we cross.
Cool.
I think is what I'm.
And is your walk like linear? Like they're gonna just walk that way and it's gonna end, or are they
Yeah.
gonna backtrack?
It'll end. It actually ends in this really interesting, geometrically shaped, or like it casts a lot of geometrical shadows bridge.
Okay.
That then you're looking right over the Perkiomen. So we actually crossed 3 bridges along this route.
Okay.
I don't know how long it is exactly.
We'll find out.
We'll find out. The thing about so yes, linear,
Okay.
and I have some field recording stuff for you that I'll drop into that
Oh, great.
box. And linear, and then the way back. So also the thing that's like, Jesus, Emma, why are you still talking? I love you, but what? She thinks I misrouted. She's like, wait a second. Hello? Are we still working together? Okay, come on. All right, and I love you. Thank you for all this help that you guide me in so many different ways, and please be kind. So the thing about the Perkiomen is, I mean, there's so many magical places, so I love that this has this kind of otherworldly, even though thinking about how in fall and winter, you'll see more of what's going on, but this kind of embrace a little bit that happens right from the start, so entering into another world. But also like the whispers of civilization kind of things going on right over here.
Yeah.
I'm calling someone now. Is that me? I am. It's so ridiculous. Who am I even calling? My mother. How nice. And, oh my gosh, what is happening here? I am joining the Luddite crew. So, so what I was going to say is that there's so many places, but what I've noticed about the Perkiomen as far as, I mean, this section is kind of exceptional that what we're walking has 3 different parking possibility spots, where, meaning like people can stop off or like they need to get picked up, whatever it is. But generally, the entry spots for the Perkiomen are pretty far and few between.
Interesting.
And so even places from, it's like this really magical kind of walk that goes, I've done it one way, but if you go the other way, you kind of pass through almost this field of like bone-looking trees and all kinds of things happen. And then you end at this enormous, like magical, mystical mother tree that's huge, right? That's more toward, if you go Collegeville towards the tree. But that walk is like 5 miles,
Yeah.
right? For there to be a spot for people to actually enter, like to go from spot to spot. And so it's hard to find.
Like a small enough chunk.
Right, exactly. So this, it actually could be smaller, but I like that we're getting different kind of experiences of the path along here. There's very much an illustration of roof and root system, all that kind of thing.
It's so beautiful.
Pretty nice. Yeah. I mean, obviously we have like
Yeah.
these kind of things, but I like that it kind of weaves in and out of different worlds. And then, and the kind of strangeness of it, and then we also intersect at different times with the stream more, like in interesting ways. There's also some like, interesting signage here with this private property handled, and like weird structures. But then you have then a lot of these are younger trees, but then you have these bigger ones, some of these bigger ones over here too. Is this usually what happens when you guys go on walks with people?
It's like pretty open season. Like some of them have been people just like talking through what they're looking at. Ari was sort of like narrating their story as we
wow.
walked, but it's totally like whatever feels useful for you to share.
Okay.
There's no particular agenda.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
It's so much.
Every now and then I
height.
might like drop back and try and get some audio and
Great.
not hear your voice,
Sure.
but
The height, the like vertical, is so intense.
Yeah. And then also that it's like emphasized even more by all these kind of tiers
Yeah.
down. And that you have that look in, and at different seasons you can see even more. And there's, of course, is the Perkiomen.
Yeah.
She kind of reveals herself as you go. You don't even realize because it almost looks like soil or like tree trunk color too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a secret feature that we didn't like. All the trails are on or near bodies of water.
Yeah.
On the Delaware River watershed. We didn't like explicitly say that to folks, but that was like a secret feature.
Oh, that's so beautiful. That's crazy. So I love how this kind of, as you see more of the Perkiomen, also then you start to see the rocks too. And then with these rocks, like how the different ways the trees are interacting, like all these different root systems along. I think it's really beautiful and interesting.
This one's so populated. It's like some of them, like Tacony, I walked it with Denise, and we saw maybe like 2 people the whole time.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah,
Wow.
and it's crazy because that's in the middle of the city.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah,
I wonder if there are times that it's more popular.
I don't think so.
It's
I don't
just
think a lot of
there.
people know it's there. I mean, and it's crazy how much you can feel like you're in the woods in the middle of Philadelphia.
That's awesome.
But it's also, I don't know, like it's going to be complicated. Denise has some feelings about like women walking alone.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So is it going to be one like bring a buddy?
I think we might do a little warning that just says like, just so you know.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I was really thinking is when you have those earphones on,
Yeah.
you really don't know.
Yeah.
So this is also like, so these are area, I mean, you wouldn't go down, but like you can look down more this way, you know.
Yeah.
And then also on the other side, there's some paths that go up a little bit. Maybe some people will decide to go that way, but I mean, meaning it's on the same path. You see how it
Berries.
goes up? Isn't that amazing? Yeah. Definitely. My son and I had some black raspberries the other day. And I love how the stones are wet too. And those stones.
it's been so much rain.
Yeah. Yesterday there was a group filming here yesterday. Some kind of stuff. But this is what I mean, like
Yeah.
if people go up, like then it's an easy thing to walk, but you never, you know, maybe some people decide to go up that way. You see more down, but not in like a directive type of way. Hi, how are you? But I love all the colors.
Yeah.
It's super lush and gorgeous.
I was reading something about how like texture, like for babies, is so important.
Ooh, yeah.
That, like they wonder if actually like part of the benefit of being out in nature when you're super duper little is just like the amount of density.
Oh, that's awesome. That makes sense, right? Isn't that incredible tree? It's really awesome. And you can really see the Perkiomen there. And I'm going to walk on the other side. Is that okay?
Sure.
So can you tell me what the range for triggers is?
I mean, basically you can have them as often as every 20 feet.
Okay. So they can be that specific, like meaning...
I mean,
But I was
it's,
trying to understand before, because when we had our meeting, you were saying, oh my god, this dog is adorable. Like so in other words, if there's something like a particular tree, but it'll be in the 20-foot range of the tree.
Right. So sort of like if the tree is the center, you think about like 20 feet on either side of it.
Got it.
So it just depends. It's like the more precise you want the trigger to be, the harder the harder it is for it to be predictive. So for example, like, I don't know, like this tree right here,
Yeah.
it's very visible at this
Yeah,
point. So if
yeah.
you created something that was like between here and there that acknowledged,
Right, got it.
you know, it's like you just have to be a little, we'll just have to be a little smart about like what is the thing you want the person to see, and then how can we set it up so that even within a range of error, the person, you know, like they might hit it here as opposed to 10 feet back where we first saw it.
Well, something that might help too is thinking about you can like GPS kind of 20 feet is like a good distance to know when you can hear something else, like when it can track that you're in a different spot.
Okay. Yeah.
So you can trigger whatever you want, wherever you want,
Yeah.
right? But you're not going to be able to trigger anything new for about 20-ish feet, if that makes sense.
How long do you think it takes the average person to walk 20 feet?
Well, I mean, this is total estimation, but I was thinking like a mile and a half or 2 miles in like an hour if you're walking very like leisurely.
Sure.
I mean, we're probably walking quicker than that pace by a bit.
Yeah.
So it also sort of depends, like some folks have proposals in their writing that there'll be moments where people are intentionally asked to move faster or slower.
Oh, I see. Sorry, I'm just thinking.
Yeah. I mean, once we get to the end of it, I'm tracking how far we're walking and how fast we're walking.
Okay, great.
But like a 20-minute mile is like
Let's work it fast.
average-ish.
Oh, 21. Okay, got it. But 20 feet,
20, that I would have to do the math
I
on.
mean to say like, if somebody's triggering every 20 feet,
I mean, I don't think anybody will.
that's real
No,
fast.
yeah, you don't
Okay.
have to. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But you could, like, even to have some kind of sound signal.
Right.
But the triggers, can they lay on top of one another? Like, if one is triggered and then the next trigger comes in, will they both play simultaneously? Or does the one complete before the next? Like, let's say
It
somebody's
depends
moving
on what
quickly.
you want,
Yeah.
and it depends, you know, but then you also hit a limit.
Right.
So you can't be triggering 10 things at once.
Sure.
But sort of how we're thinking about the maps, at least right now, and this is only in like a philosophical way, not in a we've built anything way.
Yeah.
That you can, I'm thinking about the maps in terms of text, because the text is so significant.
Sure.
And then having there be a sound and music map that like gets layered on top of that map. And that perhaps those triggers are sometimes the same and sometimes different.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
But again, that's all in our heads right now.
Sure.
So there could, I mean, so we were, Mike and I were sort of like thinking through different possibilities. There might be something where, depending on how, like the person might trigger a piece of text based on a cue back there, and the person can walk at different paces, and so that text might play out, you know, differently depending on how fast they're walking. But
Right.
let's say up at this stop sign, you definitely want a music cue
Sure.
that hits,
Sure.
like in a radius around that area.
Sure.
Like that can be independent from the text. Or if you wanted something that, like, you get to the end of a piece of text and you want like a big, like, sonic,
Swell.
like that would be triggered by the end of that text cue.
Okay. Side note, this is Camp Rainbow.
Okay.
In this, so this has like kids staying over here. Yesterday when I was walking, they were playing music. So, which is interesting. But I don't know, that might be some trigger of like other sound that covers that, whatever that's going on, or is it but yeah, Camp Rainbow. Lots of kids screaming and playing over here. Also, what bollards mean?
No, I was just thinking the same thing.
Great rise, I think, over the land, but I'm not sure.
It sounds like it's like a tiny boulder.
Oh, yeah,
No.
maybe. I was thinking billiard, but I like the boulder part of it better. And a lot of these were actually station houses nearby to.
Oh, these yellow posts are bollards.
Ah.
Oh, good.
They're warning bikers and stuff so they don't slam into them. That's a bollard. Pink rainbow. That is cute.
That's very cute.
This whole day is way too cute so far.
Yeah, you got to check out Perky's. It's adorable. It's adorable. It felt very. I was saying to him, I was like, this is like everywhere in Vermont.
Yeah, it feels like Vermont, right?
Yeah.
Was it really, were all locals in there too?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and the baked goods seemed for real.
Wow. Okay. Giving people new life right here coming out to North County.
Is there any like crucial information you think is gonna come up in the next like little bit? Okay, I'm gonna drop back.
Okay, cool. We'll talk extra loud.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I was trying not to just like assume just because I'm in nature, and when I'm in Vermont, I'm in nature.
Yeah,
but it
yeah,
does
yeah.
feel very similar.
It does, right? I mean, I think in some ways it's. Maybe, I'm trying to think if people are more friendly in Vermont or in PA.
Are you going to the alumni thing?
I will not be going to the alumni thing because I will be working on my project.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and that's the deadline you sent. Can I finish it by midnight on the 14th, the first
Sure,
draft? Is that
sure.
okay?
Yeah.
Just because
I mean, or if
we
the
have
morning,
full court press.
like if the next morning,
Okay.
like it's not. I'm not going to be up at midnight,
Ah!
like checking
I
my
need to read
email.
this right now, Brad.
Yeah.
This is what we're planning. This is the, like, we do a once a week all-nighter.
Right.
It's like, this is our once a week all-night. There's horse food, complimentary horse food on the path.
Well, you notice I like conveniently was like, I'm going to be out of town when all the drafts come
Yeah,
in.
that's great. It's really nice to be able to do that. So, yeah, I want to make sure because I think, there's actually quite a bit of traffic on this path, so I want to make sure that people are not going to get hit by
Yeah.
horses or bikes or anything like that.
But I do imagine that a lot of people are out here on headphones.
Yeah, although I've seen more people without them than with them.
Interesting.
But, so this is some of this on the side is old train stuff. This is the first of our bridges.
Cool.
And I always love the shadows on here. And
Look at that.
yeah, so really you see the train
Yeah.
remnants, as it were. Folks out here just leisurely
Paddling.
kayaks. But one of them, right here, I think this like amazing massive tree. It's like a double tree that came down. So maybe like that might be a trigger.
Yeah.
The bridge for sure, and then guiding folks this way. But it's huge. I don't even know. It's like a triple tree right there that split off. You see the three parts?
Yeah.
And they all fell in different directions.
Yeah, I wonder if it was like entwined and then split or something?
Yeah, it looks like it. Because the roots pulled away from each other. Yeah, I love it out here so much. I wonder if people on Denise's trail just wear one ear.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Because of how it's recorded, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's hard for me to say
Yeah.
because you know,
You would go and walk there and feel okay about
yeah,
it.
and I don't want to. I mean, there's part of me that's sort of like I don't want to negate any writer's impulses about their own space.
Sure.
So, and it's funny. We went on a walk with the woman who is the head of the Friends group, the Tukani partnership.
Yeah.
She was like, nah, just go out. I was like,
This is amazing.
she's like yelling at the kids on the ATV bike, saying, you can't do that here. Yeah, I mean, they've put up some bollards on the trail recently, but there's like one little section where you can still, I mean, I guess apparently for that particular trail, it's a real problem because you just,
I didn't know people have ATVs in the city.
oh my God, they're everywhere. They're the worst. I mean, down my street is crazy. You just get like packs of ATV bikes.
Just on the
And people just like
street itself.
racing on. Yeah, it's awful.
Oh my gosh. So this is the part with, somebody's backyard and all that, but
Yeah,
I'm okay with it because it's transitional. It's also just
yeah,
it's hard to find a space that's going to be
thoroughly.
wild. But there's
Distance
something
1
about it.
mile.
And we go actually
Duration
across
21
the street,
minutes
which is,
32 seconds.
meeting of
Pace
civilization.
21
Now
minutes
maybe I'm realizing
32
maybe this isn't
seconds.
quite long enough, and then we can go further or go back a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, well, that was just a mile right there.
Oh, it was. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Then we're good.
and it was, I think, said 21 minutes since we started walking.
What's the longest trail right now?
They're all about 2 miles, between a mile and a half and 2 miles.
Okay, good.
Well, Jacob Camacho he still hasn't settled yet,
Yeah.
so I'm not sure about his.
Where is his trail?
His is the Delaware River north,
Okay.
so up near Port Richmond.
Okay. And is it a very, very long trail?
Well, the Delaware River Trail is part of the East Coast Greenway, which is a series of trails that actually run, I want to say, from Vermont to like Georgia. Yeah. So there are sections of it that don't, I mean, it doesn't feel like this at all.
Okay.
It's very, it's almost like you kind of have to know it's a trail.
Oh, interesting.
And there are parts of it, it's one of the things I really like actually about that trail is it disrupts some of the, like this trail and the Chester Valley Trail, you're like, oh, that's a trail.
Right.
Some of them you're just like, what? This is a trail? Like, and every once in a while
Interesting.
you'll see the little signs for it. I don't know if he'll use this section, but there's a part of it that's like next to a marine terminal that feels very post-apocalyptic to me.
That's really interesting.
We did workshops in a bunch of different kinds of places to try and just like get a beat on like guidelines that would sort of hit all the different sort of spaces.
Yeah.
And we did one of them there, and like all the stories that people generated were all these very like, I'm walking away from the city and there's been like a nuclear disaster.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't think he's going that way, but it like, actually Justine, one of the tree, wrote this beautiful like storylet. It wasn't even like a whole thing, but it was sort of this meditation on a woman who.
You go up fast.
Okay.
Make sure
Meditation on a woman who worked at the marine terminal and was like a former addict and whose mother was waiting to pick her up with the baby in the car.
Wow.
And just sort of the feeling of fatigue of just like the grind of daily life.
Wow.
And it was maybe one of my favorite of the workshop stories that we built.
When people were writing the workshop stories, were they just along different areas of the path and writing?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of just brought a bunch of folks
Yeah.
in Philly together. I kind of explicitly picked people that couldn't apply for the program so that there wasn't a... But actually Gwen came down from New York and did did one of them with us.
Is she coming to the reunion?
I don't think so.
Who else going? Tom's going?
Tom's going. I know Amy's going.
Oh, Amy's going. That's so funny. I heard she just left her job. Like, she has some big life change stuff going on.
Amy.
Oh, which Amy are you talking about?
Amy, who is a year younger than me.
Oh. I'm thinking about husband.
Oh.
Is her name Amy?
Her name is Amy.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, I didn't know.
Like, she's left that seminar that she's been.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, like a big change.
Whoa.
Tyson will be there, I'm assuming.
And Kate, who was the G below mine.
Okay. So here's our second.
Yeah.
And this is like a different pace of the Perkiomen.
Yeah.
Different sounds too. Like, what do you think of this section, this whole thing?
I love
so
it.
far? Yeah.
It's great. Yeah, I love that the water is like always sort of just like moving around in
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah, and I love that there's different, like 3 different sections here of the water.
Yeah.
And this is Spring Mountain, which is actually in the winter a ski resort. Little ski resort.
Teeny
It's a
tiny.
little teeny tiny one. They have a little chairlift over here.
Ah.
And so this is also, so we had, this is extra, the trailer parking for the Perkiomen. People could park there.
Uh-huh.
So we've had like 3 spots.
Yeah.
Usually that doesn't happen on the Perkiomen. Hi. So then, and here, I mean, it sounds amazing here, also just the shadows in here too. This I think is really interesting too. I don't know what the fuck that is. I mean, obviously there's no like anticipating that it will be there next year. So, I have no
Yeah.
idea why you would just dump a chest of drawers.
Just like, you just gotta dump them somewhere.
Or get them rid of it. Like the old chair.
There's, when I did that walk around the perimeter, there are sections of Philly, like if you go up all the way northeast,
Yeah.
where there's a mall there, and if you just look over the edge where the water is, it's just shopping carts.
Seriously?
It's crazy.
What?
It's like a field of shopping carts.
Hi.
I guess people just take them from the stores and then just like throw
Wow.
It's crazy.
That's some kind of ritual of like grief or anger or something.
You're like, you step back for a second and it feels very Robin's
Yeah,
egg.
Robin's egg.
You know, like when you see like ants making a little mound.
Yeah.
Like it
yeah.
has very, you know, like this is some kind of strange.
It's so bizarre. This fence is really, this is like really interesting. But if you go up there, you would see the lift.
Yeah.
Is right up here. And then I don't know why, well, it must be some pump, something relationship. But I also love, like, you can see the roots across the way of the trees, too, like all the different designs of the roots. I also really love that, whereas before, I love that there's little,
What?
looks like an alien, right?
So
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that there's moss on the way, but also that there's not a guardrail. Like where we were before, there was a guardrail.
Yeah.
And so we get that range. I love also these little kind of vignettes of
Yeah.
stone. Yeah, and the chair. There's the chair. And but that there's something like it feels like you can access it more.
Right.
Before we thought, but then as it coming closer. All these offshoots and. These little blue butterflies have been periwinkle butterflies have been me. So, and Peter will be there, right?
Mhm.
Is he running the program right now? Temporary? Is he like the
I don't-
interim head of the program?
I think there's some kind of weird stuff with Jupong.
She's not involved in Vermont at all anymore.
No.
She's in Washington.
Yeah.
I
And
think she felt probably was more comfortable there anyway.
I think that, I don't know, he has a lot of very strong feelings about it.
Oh, sure.
Um,
You talk to him very regularly?
Not so much anymore, but like the year after I graduated, we called each other a couple of times.
Yeah.
I don't know, but he was just so mad about the program.
Sure.
And given that that was like our main source of connection, it just, I don't know.
Well, it's hard to,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel good. Well, and I think also, so close to the, I think the thing too is that, especially for Peter coming through the program,
Yeah,
having been involved for so long and seeing it in its really like heyday spaces,
yeah.
makes it like, what the fuck?
Well, I think it was hard too because I know that the program has a lot of challenges, but I actually had just like a pretty glorious
Yeah.
movement through it.
Ditto.
Um,
Welcome back.
and yay!
Right? Survived there.
Feels very Tempest or something.
Yes. I don't even know how that's happening.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
How are you doing that little tree?
Keep it up.
Yeah, so it was just, I don't know.
I mean, I kind of had some idea of when that when you came in, Barbara had already left. Is that true?
Yes.
I was there when that whole
Oh.
thing went down. Then there are also like different waves of things. Do you remember Pam Hall? Were you there when Pam was there?
She was there, her last semester was my first June.
I think she was awesome. I wish I had been able to work it. Were you there when did you ever meet Len Thao?
Was there my first semester and I never got to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Jackie left.
Oh, right. That was a whole, woo.
Yeah.
Good Lord. That was a whole thing. Playing like Goddard.
You went there?
Hmm. That's how we know one another. I think that's one of the reasons I'm grateful for the program. Yeah.
Awesome.
So this is kind of like the strangeness of
Yeah.
all this is all these rocks start appearing, like moss and lichen covered rocks start appearing through this and the chickies.
Oink. Refinery or something?
Yeah, it's like a water purifying plant, I guess, or like, yeah, water cleaning. Purifying, that's a better word. But I think all this is amazing how the whole congregation watching everything. And I love the moss so much.
Yeah. I've never seen that on a trail like this before.
Yeah, it's really interesting, especially, it must be because it's so shady a lot of the time, but even in the middle,
Yeah.
where people are walking and hear beautiful sounds of the water too.
The Scuba Bank Trail has like lots of this sort of like, there are these big stone up to the railroad tracks and there's this, and in some of the sections people have like carved it out and made moss graffiti.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, that's very cool. The other day when I was here, I saw 4 red-headed woodpeckers fly out from the same area. It was amazing.
When we were walking the Chester Valley Trail, we saw some herons getting it on.
What? Does that even happen?
They make the craziest noise.
Yeah, they're wild sounding anyway, and they have really dirty nests. Like their nests are very messy. Very messy. And kind of stinky.
They were like up in the trees like, wow, wow. For a long time, like we walked past them at the beginning and we came back at the end and they were still
Wow.
there. Yeah.
Long session. Amazing. Did you walk the Adirondacks?
We were in the Adirondacks and we canoed into a campsite and then, yeah, we like loaded up canoes and then paddled down the river to the lake.
Was it fun?
It was. I mean, it was great because it was completely off the grid.
Yeah,
I mean, you couldn't be on the grid if you wanted to.
Wow. Really?
Yeah. There's no, I mean, no service. So we were all...
How many folks were there with you?
It was Brad and I, and then his sister and brother-in-law and their 2 kids.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's real Lord of the Flies moment there, eh?
Well, it's so funny. So my youngest niece is about to go into 2nd grade.
Okay.
And her dad really wanted to go on this walk with us. He's like Boy Scout, super outdoorsy.
Yeah.
And Myra's little. And Alice had already done a walk the previous day, so she didn't want to, so her mom was going to stay behind. And Jessie, Brad's sister, was like, well, so whenever Myra wants to turn around, just like do it. And she would sort of be like, I'm a little tired. And he'd be like, let's keep going, let's just go a little further. So she made it to the end of the trail, which was 2 miles, and then lost it.
Oh no.
And was basically losing it the entire 2 miles back.
Yeah.
She's just like, I hate hiking. I hate this. It's the worst. It's so stupid. I didn't. She would just be like, there's no fun at all. I've had no fun on this walk.
Did everyone else's fun like quickly left their bodies?
Well, it's funny because Adam was just like, oh, you guys keep going ahead. And so we would just walk a little bit and then we would stop and wait for them every once in a while. And just like from like feet behind us, we'd just hear, ah! We'd be like, carry me. No. Carry me. No. Because I mean, and I guess like you want to take the walk, you're going to take the walk. But I was sort of like, I can tell she's not going to make it back. If I were you, I'd turn around now.
You can like smell the breaking point. So do you think it's not too steep for folks, or is it?
No, I mean, there's all different. I think it's maybe a good point to say that there's an incline on the trail, and that you should just consider that. But it's, I mean, it's an outdoorsy, and it's paved, which is not the case for many of them.
Yeah.
So I think it's more just about like maybe just letting people know that the physical difficulty is a little bit higher than the ones that are just straight flat.
Yeah. I mean, it's significant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Or maybe it's a matter of like, do you think having places to pause in the midst of the incline?
Well, I mean, they can, they can stop if they want to, and the app will wait for them.
Right.
So
it's different going up than going down.
Yeah. It's like a very emotionally arduous moment in the story.
Exactly. It's very intentional.
Yeah, I think a warning would be warranted.
I mean, the other possibility is to go, well, here's the thing is that maybe it's better to go the other way.
I guess, but they'll have to come back.
Right.
I would say pick the
harder way first?
Well, I would say pick the way you want to go.
Yeah. Okay. It's real steep, eh?
Yeah. I mean, whatever. For us, it's fine.
Right. But we're not everybody.
We're not everybody.
I have to think about that.
But I think it's, I don't think you have to necessarily. For me, it's like with a lot of this, it's mostly just about making sure people are informed.
Right.
So, we've intentionally picked like a really diverse set of trails.
Sure.
So I don't think there's anything against having a trail that has an incline as long as we, if it's
Let
got it in
folks
there,
know.
we just make sure it's very clear.
I just hope it doesn't make it completely inaccessible.
I mean, I feel like, you know, there's already a limitation if you're somebody who wants to get out
Right.
and walk several miles in the woods.
Right.
So,
Ooh, that was it.
You think that was it?
Well, that was the bulk of the incline.
Yeah.
Let me start.
So you can get the Long Island iced teas.
Oh, this is the one.
More?
Hello. Yep. Yeah, people more friendly. You saw Bernie on the path, rather than just grouch at you.
what?
I said if you saw Bernie on the path,
Right.
he'd just grouch at you. One of my dear friends lives in DC. And some time ago, maybe like 6 months ago, he posted something on Facebook that said, oh, I just had two strange things. And one thing happened. The second was he was at a crosswalk and it had started to rain and he heard the grouchiest Eeyore voice ever say like, oh, more rain? And he was suddenly like, and he turned around, it was Bernie Sanders. There's also really funny footage. You ever see the Trevor Noah segment about finding the public access TV clips from Bernie? Like Bernie Sanders had a public access show in Vermont, and a lot of the time he would interview kids, and he'd do that things like, all right, a wide range of kids, age but little. Who here knows about cocaine? Why did you guys tell me the truth? Who here smokes? He like asked the 5-year-olds, and the 5-year-old's like, I don't smoke because I'm fine. We passed 1 second.
Distance 2
It
miles.
was before, but I forgot to turn it
Duration
out.
42
Thank you.
minutes.
Further down.
36
There's like
seconds.
4 trees that
Pace
are 1
21
tree
minutes.
that'll be
5 seconds.
character in the piece. The 4 that are 1, or the 1 that is 4.
Uh-huh. And that was just 2 miles. We just passed
Oh, okay.
2 miles.
So it's a little bit more than 2. I don't know if that's going to be a...
No, that's totally fine. Whoa. What is-
Yes, interesting.
Ghost house.
I like that there's different variations of like shade and sun and
Yeah.
Yeah.
different types of trees too. Yeah. I love that whole boulder field. It also reminds me of, you know, the in the Never Ending Story,
Mm-hmm.
the rock.
Yeah.
Reminds me in some ways of that.
Well, it's interesting to think about a person walking through and just think about the phone call and sort of like negotiating your inner space, like inner and outer space, that the landscape changes so much.
Absolutely. And then now we come towards a place that's more meadow.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So,
Wow.
and all this is really interesting and the verticalness and
So, like, bare.
yeah. And how also the sounds open up, like you can hear more street sounds now even though you can't see it. And all this.
Yeah.
Woo. And even in winter it looked pretty much like this because of how tall the trunks are.
Yeah.
But you might be able to see in towards the Perkiomen. I love this kind of carpeting, you know.
Wow. So pretty.
And we'll come up towards that third parking And then my endpoint is just a little bit beyond that.
Huh? This is great. I think this is a great section of trail.
Okay, fantastic.
It's nice actually. This one has benches, so if somebody did want to rest.
I wish that huge mother tree was along here, but
Yeah.
it's not. It's interesting where there's traffic along certain sections, but not along every section.
Yeah.
We're very close to Schwanksville from here.
Have you been into Schwanksville?
Yeah, walking through history, yes. There is a cafe right along the trail.
Ah.
So I was actually thinking at the end point, then people also could, if they wanted to, just continue along the path and they can stop actually just a little further down in Meadow Park. And you can put your, not Meadow, it's not the wrong word, I forget the name right now. But you can actually go down to the Perkiomen and put your hands in the creek too, if you wanted. It's like a boat loading area. Yeah. But that's our thing too a lot, like you use your ears so much to notice that people are coming that you have to like really encourage folks to be towards the side if they
Yeah.
have their earphones on. But this all this kind of interesting crisscrossing, like this is one of the only places we've seen fir trees
Yeah.
along the whole path. And they aren't doing that great. Like any of them.
Yeah. Oh. Wow, that is pastoral.
Yeah, right? And there's some birdhouses out too. And how you guys doing?
Good.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm hot.
Yeah. I have jicama in my bag if anybody wants some. It's not cut though, but we have to eat it like an apple. We could share it.
That's some snacks.
Yeah, pastoral and like mercilessly hot.
Yeah.
In a beautiful way.
Just down my belly today.
It's like steam from the ground.
Yeah.
It's so humid.
Yesterday when I was up in Green Park, then it had been raining really hard. I was under a tree for a while, then came up through a parking lot to continue the last section. And there was just steam coming off. It was rolling through the They sound beautiful, don't they?
No. What are you? My neighbor in South Philly
Yeah.
has a peach tree.
What?
I know. This is
Like fruit bearing?
yeah,
Wow.
huge peach tree
What?
that's like got all these like early stage peaches on it.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty. How did you do that down here? Yeah, they have a peach tree and an apple tree in their backyard.
Wow. They must be old though. Did they plant them?
I don't know that neighbor because they're
Yeah.
a little ways down.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure who lives there.
Wow. There's the parking area there. I know it's super pastoral, and then you'll be shocked right here. You'll see that we're right on there. There's a busy intersection. I'm gonna say busy. There's gonna be no one there whatsoever.
It's jam.
It's just super. It's like jam-packed. Here's where we're walking. This would be a real hard bike ride. Right? Ooh, they're so tired.
he's just in a really low gear. Like,
Maybe. I love these trees. Yeah, right? So like right here you go over and then suddenly the sound totally changes.
yeah.
Almost at the end. Thank you so much for looking up what bollards are because I really thought it was an incline thing, indication of incline.
I love the idea. Like, it sounds so much like a big, heavy guy.
Exactly.
I'm just a slow bowler.
Did you ever play Snow Bros on Snow Brothers on like NES? Did you play much NES?
I did. I was like very, like Tetris.
Oh, Tetris, yes.
Like anything. I still like.
Puzzly and all that.
I think it's like an anxiety thing. Like putting shapes in order,
Yeah.
just like for hours.
Yeah.
It does like a certain kind of, I don't know, like my need to order things.
Yeah. I can get down with that. I can't relate, but. No, that's it feels something is very relaxing and anxiety inducing around Texas as well, but Tetris too. I find Texas very anxiety inducing.
I think it's like something that it's like a solvable problem.
Right. I talked to you about these shadows, and there's probably not going to be many shadows right now, but I'll show you where I'm thinking to end.
Ah, I love this last bridge.
Yeah, so the shadows are here too.
Yeah.
And pattern shadows, and you're really over the perfect. And the shape of it is so interesting too, right? That's really contained. And I love how it, like the stones come back that were in the woods. They're here, you know.
Yeah.
Like for me, even stopping in the middle and not going all the way to the other end
Yeah.
is the way that I would do it.
It's funny. Ari's trail ends on a bridge.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool.
I wonder if that will be a continuing theme.
Yeah. And then from here, people can decide. I mean, obviously people go back, but if they really wanted snacks or something like that, you could just go a little bit further into Schwingstad.
That'd be good to. We could once
Make a note of it.
Yeah, like once the thing pops into the other mode, to just like note that you could walk into town.
So that's where I thought to end. Are we?
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.